The next time you log into the game, you can go to the Accounts tab, and this time, instead of creating a new player, you'll select player, and you select your player, you launch the game. So in this lesson, we'll talk about the music theory memorization game. And what this contains lessons and drills that will teach you all of the aspects, the basic aspects of music theory. So you'll start by learning the chromatic scale, then you'll learn intervals, then you'll learn the patterns of the major scale, you'll learn the basic pattern of the minor scale, and then the pattern of the harmonic minor scale. So the way their bricks are organized, like bricks in a wall, you have to start by building a base. So you start at the bottom with the chromatic scale, and you go left to right. So you can, if you launch the chromatic scale lesson, and just like the other lessons, you'll read the text at the top, and you'll use the next button to click through it. And it has the words, and this teaches you all of the notes in the chromatic scale. So I will go ahead and skip through this. I'm going to use a development mode. You'll notice that after we finish the chromatic scale, then we go to an intervals lesson. So when you click on the intervals lesson, then you can, it'll teach you the intervals in the chromatic scale. And what you haven't seen before is another part of our game is we have this menu in the middle that shows you we can draw text. So what you're learning here is all of the intervals in the chromatic scale. You've got your unison, your minor second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, and the tritone. And as you complete the lesson, you'll learn all of the rest of the intervals in the chromatic scale. So this teaches you the most basic building blocks in the chromatic scale. And they're important to know. And so after you've done this, now for the first time we have a chromatic scale quiz. When you take your quiz, you'll click next, it'll prompt you, it'll say select the note that is an interval of a unison. Now you can click on the keyboard down here and it tells you whether you got the answer correct or not. Then it prompts you, what is the interval of a minor second? And so you have to, this is where you take the quiz. It tells you whether you got the correct answer or not. So after you complete your quiz, it'll grade you when you get enough right answers, then you can finish the quiz. And notice that now your major scale brick is enabled. So likewise, you can go to the major scale and it'll give you a lesson about the major scale brick. And after you finish the lessons and go through that, you do your major scale quiz, then the tab will be opened up so that you can learn and memorize all of the major keys. So what happens when you click on this one, a brand new wall opens up. Now these contain all of the keys of the major scale. And you'll start with the key of C major, and you'll learn all of your G major, D major, A major. You'll learn all 12 keys in the major scale. And after you've memorized the notes, so you can go through the lesson, and this has quizzes on the C major scale. Now at the top, these bricks at the very top are what we call quiz chains. And so they have a sequence of quizzes that test you on your knowledge that you've learned in all of the previous quizzes. So this one right here tests you on your key signature. And you're supposed to know that 3 flats is the key of E flat. A brand new key pops up. You'll know that that's the C. And so this is designed to help you memorize your key signatures and all of the keys of the major scale. So I'll use my development mode tab. This one here, this one's designed to test whether you know the order of your accidentals. So you're supposed to know here that in the key of E flat, there are 3 accidentals. There are 3 flats, and they are B flat, E flat, and A flat. So after you Check that out. You can check your answer, and if you got it right, it'll play the scale, and then it'll move it on to the next one. In this quiz, you have to fill in the scale, and you're supposed to be able to fill in the E flat scale by knowing the root note is E flat, the major second is F, the major third is G flat, is G. And you're supposed to know that there's no minor third and no minor second in the scale. So the perfect fourth is A flat, your perfect fifth is B flat. If you've done the lesson, you'll know that there's no diminished fifth in the major scale. There's no minor sixth, so you leave that one off. The major sixth is a C, and the major seventh is D. And that's your key of E flat. You've got E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, and D. And this one's going to test whether you know the note names of the scale. And so you can just go through here and you'll click on the buttons here. You're supposed to know that the dominant is the fifth tone of the scale, and the key of E flat, the dominant is B flat. And so this basically tests whether you know your academic names of each tone. That you have the tonic, the supertonic, the mediant, the subdominant, the dominant, the submediant, and the leading tone. So this tests you on those skills. And so there's all of these different games that are designed. In this one, again, you're testing you whether you know your note names by memorization. So in the key of E flat, you're supposed to know that the tonic is E flat. And that's the quiz chain. So after you do the quiz chain, you'll notice that you've earned 17 out of 2,000 points on that brick. So you'll have to go through the key chain many, many times, and it'll test you on how well you know your keys and scales. And by the time you've achieved your 2,000 points, you will have a very good grasp on your major keys. You'll know all of the key signatures. You'll know all of the order of sharps and flats. You'll know all of the tones in each scale, and you'll be able to recall those from memory so that when you go to practice on your instrument, you'll be very good at it. And likewise, there's all of these other key quiz chains up at the top that you can finish. It'll go back to the brain game. We go back to the main menu. And that's the music theory memorization game.